Hello and welcome to a brand new edition of In Depth. I'm Tina Jha. Today our focus is on a subject that's been a matter of debate the world over, legalizing euthanasia. Only a handful of countries grant citizens the right to choose how they should die in cases of terminal illness. On the 9th of March 2018, India joined this list of countries giving countrymen the right to die with dignity. The Supreme Court ruled in favour of allowing passive euthanasia. In the next 30 minutes, we take a look at the euthanasia debate over the years and the dilemma over giving people the right to die with dignity. In a landmark judgment, the Supreme Court has allowed passive euthanasia for terminally ill patients. Recognizing the right to die with dignity, the court allowed a living will where a person can choose in advance to withdraw from life support. However, the court has framed strict guidelines to prevent misuse. Here's a look at the details of the judgment.
Comatose people who have no chance of recovery or revival can be taken off life support system to allow them a dignified death. In a historic judgment, the Supreme Court has allowed them to make a living will that permits them to tell doctors in advance that they can be taken off life support. However, the court set out strict guidelines to decide the cases that can be considered fit for passive euthanasia. Under these rules, a family member or friend of a terminally ill person seeking passive euthanasia can approach the High Court. The court will constitute a medical board to decide if passive euthanasia is needed.
उस पर सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने साफ-साफ बोला है कि हर नागरिक को ये इस तरह का फैसला लेने का पूरा अधिकार है कि अगर उसकी जिंदगी ऐसे मुकाम पर पहुंच गई है जहां पर उसकी जिंदगी सिर्फ आर्टिफिशियल लाइफ सपोर्ट सिस्टम या वेंटिलेटर से ही आगे बढ़ाई जा सके और अगर वो ये नहीं चाहता तो वो ये फैसला लेने के लिए स्वतंत्र है और वो फैसला सबको मानना पड़ेगा.
The apex court said living will should be permitted since a comatose person cannot be allowed to continue suffering when he or she does not wish to live. But the court attached strict conditions for executing the will, saying permission of the patient's family will also be required for a living will. It will also be necessary to get the approval of the team of specialist doctors associated with the disease.
तीन अलग-अलग आज की डेट में फैसले हैं. एक मेडिकल काउंसिल ऑफ इंडिया की गाइडलाइंस कि वेंटिलेटर को कब विड्रॉ किया जाए नॉर्मल सर्कमस्टांसिस में. तो उस सिचुएशन के अंदर में गाइडलाइंस हैं कि 3 डॉक्टर्स मिलकर डिसाइड करेंगे. दूसरा अब आ गया है कि एडवांस डायरेक्टिव एंड लिविंग विल, यानी कि मैं हॉस्पिटल में एडमिट होने से पहले अपनी विल में लिख सकता हूँ कि अगर ऐसी सिचुएशन आ जाए कि मेरे बचने के चांसेस नहीं हैं, मैं इरिवर्सिबल सिचुएशन के अंदर में हूँ, तो मेरा ट्रीटमेंट कैसे हो. ये मेरी लिविंग विल है जिसे सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने मान्यता दे दी है. और तीसरा शानबाग वाला केस था कि अगर कोई ऐसी सिचुएशन में आ जाए, लिविंग विल नहीं है, वेजिटेटिव स्टेट पे है, तो उसका वेंटिलेटर कौन निकाल सकता है.
However, active euthanasia that entails the use of lethal substances or any intentional means to assist the death of a terminally ill patient is still illegal in India. In fact, active euthanasia is a criminal offence in most countries. At present, current laws require patients to be kept on forced life support system.
इसको एक्टिव यूथेनेसिया कहते हैं, जिसमें कोई जना कहता है कि भाई मुझे बहुत तकलीफ हो रही है इसलिए मुझे लीथल इंजेक्शन से मार दिया जाए. उस पर सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने जो मैंने सुना वो ये बोला है कि नहीं, वो तो गैर कानूनी होगा, वो तो एक तरह से सुइसाइड होगा या कल्पेबल होमिसाइड माना जाएगा.
The verdict of the Constitution Bench came on a PIL filed by NGO Common Cause in 2005. The petition says the right to life includes the right to die with dignity and a person cannot be forced to live on life support. Passive euthanasia under special circumstances was already made legal in 2011, but now the court confirmed that the right to die with dignity is a fundamental right and sanctioned the writing of a living will. With Vipin Chauhan, Bureau Report for Rajya Sabha TV.
There has been a long debate on euthanasia in the Supreme Court. The burning question was why people with incurable illnesses should be kept on the life support system for a long time, knowing they can never recover. The argument was that no one can be allowed to die like this. In this report, we'll show you what has been the stand of law, courts and the government in this matter.
Euthanasia is the practice of intentionally ending a life to relieve pain and suffering. Indian law does not allow it. The government says that legal permission for euthanasia can lead to its misuse. That is why, so far, euthanasia has been viewed as murder or suicide. In this context, the Supreme Court's verdict is very important. Until now, suicide was considered an offence under Section 309 of the IPC, with punishment up to 1 year in jail and a penalty. Similarly, abetment of suicide attracts up to 10 years in jail under Section 306 of the IPC.
At this juncture, what is important is that if cases like Aruna Shawbag, who was suffering, where the Supreme Court sent the entire matter to a medical board, report of medical board came. Was it reversible? Was it not reversible? Because the medical board could not conclusively perhaps say in that it was not irreversible. She was not permitted, and thereafter she died of pneumonia.
Passive euthanasia has been in the news due to the case of Aruna Shawbag. On 27 November 1973, Shawbag was sexually assaulted by a ward boy at King Edward Memorial Hospital in Mumbai, after which she went into a persistent vegetative state and continued to remain in this state for nearly 42 years. Considering Aruna's condition, in 2011, a petition demanding euthanasia for her was filed in the Supreme Court. This petition was rejected by the Apex Court on 8 March 2011. The Supreme Court had said that Shawbag was being fed and medicated without being completely comatose. Basing its decision on the reports of only a few doctors, the petition was rejected.
इससे पहले अरुणा शाहनाग के केस में कोर्ट ने कहा था, लेकिन वो एक और केस था गीता कौर का 1996 का, उसमें सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने अलाउ नहीं किया था. तो आइडिया ये था कि 2 जज कह रहे थे कि होना चाहिए, 2 जज नहीं, तो इसलिए ये 5 जजेस को रेफ़र किया गया था. तो अब 5 जजेस ने ये डिसीजन दिया है कि हमारा जो आर्टिकल 21 है, जिसमें प्रत्येक को एक गरिमा के साथ जीने का अधिकार है, तो उसमें ये कहा गया है कि जीने का अधिकार है तो मरने का भी अधिकार है अगर आवश्यकता पड़ जाए.
Shawbag died on 18th May 2015, sparking a debate on mercy killing, wishful death and euthanasia. There have been other cases as well. In 2005, a Patna native, Tarkeshwar Sinha, filed a plea with the Bihar governor requesting euthanasia for his wife Kanchan Devi. Sinha said his wife was in coma since 5 years with bleak chances of survival. Kolavenu Venkatesh's case from Hyderabad in 2004 also became very popular. Venkatesh died after suffering from an illness for 18 years. Before his death, he had requested mercy killing and expressed willingness to donate his organs. But the Andhra Pradesh High Court rejected this petition.
यूथनेसिया के बारे में मुझे याद है कि जस्टिस लोहाटी ने भी क्वेश्चंस पूछे थे. ज्ञान कौर की जजमेंट में शायद क्वेश्चंस पूछे गए हैं. बहुत से केसेस में राइट टू कमिट सुसाइड, राइट टू लाइफ, राइट टू डाई विद डिग्निटी, ये एक ऐसा सवाल है जो कोर्ट्स के पास बार बार आया है. और कोर्ट्स ने ये सवाल पूछा है कि जब शेंगन कंट्रीज में, बहुत से देशों में, बेल्जियम में, नॉर्वे में, स्विट्जरलैंड में यूथनेसिया परमिटेड है, तो हिंदुस्तान में क्यों नहीं होना चाहिए?
Since there was no law allowing euthanasia, the Kerala High Court too, in December 2001, rejected B.K. Pillai's petition. He was suffering from a disabling illness without scope of recovery. In 2005, Muhammad Yunus Ansari from Kashipur in Odisha wrote to the president demanding euthanasia for his 4 children. He said that he was forced to consider this extreme step due to the children's illness and his inability to get them treated due to lack of money. A year ago, the Indian Law Commission recommended that mercy killing and euthanasia be allowed. The commission said people suffering from incurable diseases should also have the right to die with dignity. With inputs from Leena Sharma, Bureau Report for Rajya Sabha TV.
Can people in coma be given the right to say they shouldn't be forcefully kept alive? The verdict of the 5-judge constitutional bench of the Supreme Court, upholding the right to death with dignity, has triggered a discussion on various aspects of the judgment. Let's understand what are the apprehensions and objections to passive euthanasia.
The Supreme Court verdict on passive euthanasia raises many questions. The first, of course, is whether the concept of passive euthanasia falls within the purview of a basic right. During its hearing, the constitutional bench had itself asked if people can be put on life support systems against their will. Ruling on the matter, the court said the right to live includes the right to die with dignity. In other words, the right to live with dignity includes the right to die with respect. There are also concerns about how a living will should be drafted. The government argued that no person can be allowed to write a living will. Only in rare circumstances and when certified by a medical board can the life support system of a dying person be removed.
हाँ, कोर्ट ने क्योंकि भारत है और कई बार प्रॉपर्टी के मामले में दुरुपयोग भी हो सकता है, रिलेटिव किसी की प्रॉपर्टी हड़प करने के चक्कर में पता चला पहले तो चोट कर दी और उसके बाद इस तरह का हो, तो उसके लिए ये कहा गया है कि मेडिकल बोर्ड जो है सर्टिफाई करे कि डिजीज़ वाकई इनक्योरेबल है, क्योंकि आजकल साइंस और टेक्नोलॉजी बहुत आगे बढ़ चुकी है.
Supporters of passive euthanasia feel that people suffering from incurable diseases should be allowed to write a living will. In a living will, a person can state in advance that their life should not be prolonged by putting them on a ventilator or an artificial life support system.
सी बेसिकली आज की डेट में अगर एक सिचुएशन आ जाती है, मान लीजिए मैंने लिविंग विल दी हुई है और लिविंग विल देने के बाद में मेरे को वेंटिलेटर पे डाल दिया जाता है और मेरे को मल्टी ऑर्गन फेलियर हो गया मेरा, और 3 डॉक्टर या 4 डॉक्टर मिलके ये डिसाइड करते हैं कि भाई इसको बचने के चांसेस नहीं हैं. आप रिलेशंस के पास जाते हो, रिलेशंस कहते हैं वेंटिलेटर निकाल दो या कहते हैं नहीं निकाल लो, तो कौन डिसाइड करेगा? उसकी गाइडलाइन सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने निकाली है.
The all-important question is what will be the process that can decide that a patient can't be cured. Since there has been no law till date, patients are forcefully kept on life support systems. Comatose people are in no condition to express their will, so can they be given the right to draft a will stating that when there is no scope for cure, their bodies should not be kept alive.
हो सकता है जो चीज़ आज असाध्य मानी जाए, हो सकता है आज से 5 साल 10 साल बाद असाध्य ना हो, उसका इलाज हो जाए. तो ऐसे में ये कहना कि भाई उसको निश्चित रूपेण लाइफ सपोर्ट ख़त्म ही कर दी जाए तो वो ठीक नहीं होगा. तो उसके लिए मेडिकल जस्टिस ए के सीकरी ने तो यहाँ तक कहा कि एक मेडिकल सर्टिफाई करे कि भाई ये डिजीज़ अब इनक्योरेबल हो गई है या मेडिकल बोर्ड का वो हो. तो ये चीज़ जो है इस तरह की गाइडलाइंस का प्रावधान रखा गया है ताकि इस शक्ति का दुरुपयोग ना हो.
Both euthanasia and mercy killing are illegal in India. Under Section 309 of the IPC, euthanasia is an offence. Under Section 304 of the IPC, mercy death is a crime of murder. Apart from these concerns, middle-class senior citizens are considered a burden in India. In such a scenario, there can be many issues with the concept of death with dignity. There is also the possibility of misusing the provision by greedy relatives on the lookout to grab property or money. With inputs from Leena Sharma, Bureau Report for Rajya Sabha TV.
The word euthanasia is a blanket term that includes different types of mercy-killing methods. These include voluntary, involuntary, active, passive, and also assisted suicide. Here's a detailed explanation of these different terms.
Various countries have different perspectives on euthanasia. While many countries have laws that prohibit euthanasia practices, many others recognize the right to die with dignity. Some have legalized euthanasia in different forms. Euthanasia is considered legal in Netherlands, Belgium and Luxembourg. France stops short of legal euthanasia but has a provision that allows doctors to keep terminally ill patients sedated until death.
तो एक तो ये है कि ये कंडीशन है, ये नहीं किसी भी कंडीशन में आप उसकी लाइफ सपोर्ट वो कर सकते हो। तो पहली कंडीशन है कि इनक्योरेबल डिजीज़ हो और प्रोलॉन्ग्ड हो, और उसके बाद ये लगे कि भाई इसके बाद इसको जिंदा रखना वेजिटेटिव स्टेट में इसके लिए भी अच्छा नहीं रहेगा। और जहाँ इस तरह की इच्छा उसने अभिव्यक्त की है, या अगर इच्छा व्यक्त नहीं की, तो वहाँ डॉक्टर भी मेडिकल बोर्ड से ये देख के कि इनक्योरेबल है तो इस तरह से कर सकते हैं।
In broad terms, euthanasia is of two types, active and passive, but there is more to it. In active euthanasia, a person takes an action with the intention to cause a patient's death. In assisted suicide, patients need help to kill themselves. Physician-assisted suicide is legal in many states of America, and here a doctor aids a patient in shortening their dying process. Indirect euthanasia means providing treatment, usually to reduce pain, that has the side effect of hastening the patient's death. A DNR order on a patient's file means that a doctor is not required to resuscitate a patient if their heart stops, and is designed to prevent unnecessary suffering. In the doctrine of double effect, a doctor gives drugs to a patient to relieve distressing symptoms even though he knows this may shorten the patient's life. In involuntary euthanasia, the person wants to live but is killed anyway. Non-voluntary euthanasia occurs when the person is unconscious or otherwise unable to make a meaningful choice between living and dying, and an appropriate person takes the decision on their behalf. Voluntary euthanasia occurs at the request of the person who is dying. Then there is the living will, wherein a person makes a statement in advance that their life should not be prolonged by putting them on an artificial life support system in case of terminal illness. Passive euthanasia is when death is brought about by an omission to let the person die. This can be done by withdrawing or withholding treatment. This is the type of euthanasia which the Supreme Court has allowed in its landmark decision last week.
अभी हम लोगों ने एक एंड ऑफ लाइफ इश्यूज़ पे सिमाओ के अंदर में जापान में ये इशू उठा था इसके ऊपर में, तो प्रैक्टिकली लिविंग विल तो सब अस्पताल सब कंट्रीज़ के अंदर में है। DNR, डी नॉट रिससिटेट एंड लिविंग विल प्रैक्टिकली सब यूरोपियन एंड अमेरिकन कंट्रीज़ में है।
Many countries are debating the need for euthanasia. In 2001, the Netherlands allowed physician-assisted suicide after 30 years of discussion on the issue. In 2002, Belgium permitted euthanasia after publicly debating the issue for 3 years. Luxembourg legalized euthanasia and physician-assisted suicide in 2009. In Switzerland, euthanasia is illegal, but assisted suicide is allowed as the country does not consider suicide illegal. In Switzerland, assisted suicide is not considered illegal till it is proved that the intention is not to kill or to benefit from the death. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Legalizing euthanasia has been debated in different countries. A few countries have legalized euthanasia, both passive and active, under certain circumstances. Several others even allow assisted suicide. India now joins the countries that allow passive euthanasia, the right to die with dignity to terminally ill patients.
Euthanasia is of three types: voluntary, non-voluntary or involuntary. Voluntary euthanasia is legal in some countries. Non-voluntary euthanasia is where the patient's consent is not available. It is illegal across the world. Involuntary euthanasia, that amounts to murder, is also illegal across the world. A public debate is underway in some countries on the moral, ethical and legal implications of euthanasia. Only a handful of countries have legalized passive euthanasia. They include the Netherlands, Canada, Belgium, Colombia and Luxembourg. With the Supreme Court allowing passive euthanasia, India now joins these countries that allow their citizens the right to die with dignity. In some countries, active euthanasia is legal under some circumstances, while in countries like Switzerland, Germany, Japan, and in the US states of Washington, Oregon, Colorado, Vermont, Montana, and California, assisted suicide is legal.
अमेरिका में जैसे सेल्फ डिटर्मिनेशन ऑटोनॉमी करके एक एक्ट है, जो यहाँ हमारे यहाँ डिबेट है, वहाँ बहुत पहले थी। जब हम 1980 में अमेरिका में पढ़ रहे थे तब वहाँ काफ़ी डिबेट थी, तो 30 साल पहले डिबेट थी। सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने उनकी ने भी डिसाइड किया, तो वहाँ तो उन्होंने एक सेल्फ डिटर्मिनेशन और ऑटोनॉमी ऑफ इंडिविजुअल करके एक्ट भी पास किया हुआ है। हमारी भी सरकार इस तरह का कानून ला रही है। कानून सरकार इस चीज़ की ज़्यादा चिंता कर रही है कि इसका दुरुपयोग ना हो।
The Netherlands became the first country to legalize euthanasia and assisted suicide in April 2002, although some very strict conditions govern the law. A few months after Netherlands, Belgium became the second country to legalize euthanasia. The law says doctors can help patients to end their lives when they freely express a wish to die because they are suffering intractable and unbearable pain. Patients can also receive euthanasia if they have clearly stated it before entering a coma or similar vegetative state. In countries like Germany and Switzerland, active assisted suicide, a doctor prescribing and handing over a lethal drug, is illegal. However, the law in both countries allows assisted suicide under certain circumstances. In Germany, assisted suicide is legal as long as the lethal drug is taken without any help, such as someone guiding or supporting the patient's hand. In Switzerland, the law is more relaxed. It allows assisted suicide as long as there are no self-seeking motives involved. In Australia, euthanasia is illegal at the federal level, but states and territories have legislated on the issue. In France, both euthanasia and assisted suicide are against the law. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
And that's it from us in this edition of In Depth. We'll see you same time tomorrow. Thanks for watching.